This is where risk is today, or rather, this is a slide on the evolution of risk management up to the point where enterprise risk management was a conceptual infant. This document here is sourced from the Institute of Management Accountants and was authored by Professor Bill Schenker. Bill, in the 1990s, described enterprise risk management as containing four principal buckets of risk: strategic, financial, operational, and hazard. This is RMI's view of the next stages in the evolution of risk management. The fourth pillar is the resilience pillar. And we accept no plaudits for thought leadership in this regard, because resilience is something which is gaining currency very quickly around the world. From our point of view, particularly with the Global Risk Report that came from the World Economic Forum in 2013. But our particular perspective on resilience causes us to dwell for a moment on the difference between measurable uncertainties and unmeasurable uncertainties. What do I mean by this? Risk is the effect of uncertainty on the achievement of objectives. Risk is some jeopardy or some threat about which there is some ambiguity, about which there is some uncertainty. There are two types of uncertainties: measurable uncertainties and unmeasurable uncertainties. On the bottom right-hand corner of the slide in front of you, you will see that there are two of the big buckets of risk, financial and hazard risks, which are described under the heading of measurable uncertainties. Now, hazard risks are risks which are inherently insurable because they occur in very large number and with sufficient frequency for them to be discernible, for them to be reckonable, for them to be such that management can manage them on a daily basis, and they can then be managed residually through transfer out through insurance. Financial risks are today regarded as being risks which are mastered. What do I mean by that? Best described and explained in the context of two reports that were undertaken at the end of the 1990s and the early 2000s. They were unconnected reports into major value collapse events. Two reports were undertaken by Mercer and separately by Booz Allen Hamilton. These reports separately concluded that in the order of 85% to 92% of the major value collapse events that occurred in the years leading up to then had their root causes associated not with financial risks or hazard risks, but strategic and operational risks. Measurable uncertainties are funded out of operating profits. It's important that we understand and remember that. Now let's consider for a moment unmeasurable uncertainties. Unmeasurable uncertainties are inherently unreckonable because they do not occur with such frequency for us to be able to understand likelihood. We certainly understand their impacts. These days, unmeasurable uncertainties are driven substantially by dint of the hyper-connected, multi-speed, uncertain world in which we live. Unmeasurable uncertainties typically precipitate very significant negative reputational impacts. Unmeasurable uncertainties are funded from the balance sheet. In our view, in years to come, the term risk and risk management are likely to be subordinated to the term resilience and resilience management. Why is that so? We believe that corporate resilience will become an imperative in senior and mainstream business management, on foot of the fact that business models are becoming more global. They're becoming more 24/7. There are very few organizations today which are vertically integrated. More core processes, more core functions are being outsourced. There's more uncertainty in day-to-day operations. So clearly, as there are more unmeasurable uncertainties than measurable uncertainties, and because unmeasurable uncertainties ultimately are funded out of the balance sheet and precipitate very negative reputational impacts, it is important that boards of directors have a strategic risk framework which can accommodate two things. First and foremost, risk-taking and monitoring at the group level, at the senior corporate levels, and then separately, performance monitoring and controls at the subsidiary levels. Boards of directors need to understand the links between risk and strategy because of the uncertain world in which we live today.